Who is better, Damian Lillard or Russell Westbrook? This has been one of the biggest debates in the NBA over the past year. What's going on, guys? It's Peak Reacts, and today I'm going to be going in depth on the comparison between Damian Lillard and Russell Westbrook. These two are compared countless amounts of times, not only because they rank similarly among many people, but also because of their intense matchups that they've put on over the past couple years. So today I'm going to be giving you guys my unbiased opinion on who I think is the better player. We're going to be looking at who's had a better career, who's better right now, and we're going to be using stats, other people's opinions, and the eye test to determine who we think is better. So we'll start off by looking at who's had a better career and how they stack up against each other. As you see, Russ has played 4 more seasons than Dame, so he's going to have the advantage when it comes to career numbers. They each have made the playoffs 75% of the time in their career. Dame 6, Russ 9, but it ends up balancing out when you look at it compared to how many seasons they've played. But Dame has made less All-Star games than Russ when it comes to how long their career is. Dame has made only half the amount of All-Star appearances as Russ, and then obviously Westbrook has that MVP that he won back in 2017. Now the stats I just showed was more team success and then individual accolades. Now let's look at individual stats. As we see, it's very similar when it comes to who's better in each category. Each person is better than the other in 2 categories, and then they're very similar in field goal percentage, exactly identical when it comes to career field goal percentage. Dame takes the edge in points per game as he averages 24 points over his career, while Russ is 23.2. But Russ does take the edge when it comes to assists and rebounds per game as he's better than Dame in both. And then field goal percentage, I already mentioned, they are identical throughout their career, which I thought was very interesting. And then Dame is obviously the superior 3-point shooter. Now, we think of Dame as the better shooter, which he definitely is. Russ, a lot of his field goal percentage comes from mid-range to close buckets as he's a very good finisher at the rim. So we saw by the stats and accolades that Russell Westbrook has definitely had a better career than Dame. However, it's a lot closer than a lot of people think. But in my opinion, the more important stats is from last year, this year, and then last year's playoff series between the two, where Damian Lillard ended up coming out victorious, and we saw this happen. I'm going to focus solely on last year's playoff series right now, and this proved so much that Dame is the better player right now. He averaged, as you see on the screen right now, 33 points a game, 6 assists, and 4.4 rebounds throughout the series, and he shot 46% from the field and an insane 48% from 3. Compared to Russ, who only averaged 22.8 points a game. He had him in assists and rebounds, but that's what you expect with Russ, as he's a great passer and he flies in for the rebounds. But Russell Westbrook shot a terrible 36% from the field and only 32% from 3. Dame absolutely showed why he was the better point guard throughout that series. They went absolutely back and forth all series. As you see right here, Damian Lillard shoving Russell Westbrook to the ground, showing him that he's not going to back down to Russell Westbrook. But Russell Westbrook would get him back many times throughout the series, including this block here on him in Game 3. Game 3 was Russell Westbrook's game as he backs down Damian Lillard, hits the fadeaway, and rocks the baby. He dominated Game 3, but Damian Lillard came back Game 4 and dominated, including Game 5. Game 2 here, he hit this deep 3 and then proceeded to scream bombs away, signaling that he was on fire. And then obviously he topped it off with this 37-foot bomb over Paul George to send the Thunder home and break up their team. He even waved him goodbye, as you see right there. Insane. Okay, and the final version of stats we'll be using is the stats from the 2020 season, where once again very similar in numbers for both players. Dame has the edge in points by about 1.5 points. Dame also has the edge in assist for the first time in his career. He's finally becoming I would say, elite passer, as he's averaging 7.8 assists per game. He's 5th in the NBA in that, 4th in the NBA in scoring. He's 6th in 3-point percentage, 39.4%. extraordinarily better than Russell Westbrook, who's really fallen off as a shooter this year, but his field goal percentage in general has gone up, as he's about a 1.5 field goal percentage better than Damian Lillard, because Russ has been very good at attacking the basket this year. And then he's also better in rebounds, but that's obvious because Russ is an elite rebounder for the guard position. But looking at these stats overall, very similar years. I would give the edge to Dame just because of how important scoring is in this day and age. So overall, very similar for both players throughout their career and throughout this season. But in my opinion, I believe Dame is the better player right now. Russ has definitely had a better career because his career has been 4 seasons longer, but Damian Lillard has been elite this year. In my opinion, he has been the best point guard in the league this year. Russ is probably top 3 now after a slow start. He's definitely picked it up come January, February before this coronavirus hit. But Damian Lillard has been insane this season, despite the losing for his team. You could give the argument to Russ because his team is winning, but Damian Lillard's team has had to endure 3 injuries to 3 starters. All have been out for the year, so it's very hard to lead a team when you're playing with players that shouldn't be starting for a playoff team. And to go along with winning, Damian Lillard has proven that he can beat Russell Westbrook time in and time out, as they are 13-13 compared when it comes to head-to-head matchups, but Damian Lillard obviously takes the edge. I believe it's 17-14 because of the playoff matchup that they won. He won 4-1 in that game. So Damian Lillard, all games 17-14, against Russell Westbrook when it comes to head-to-head, and then including this season, he's 2-1 despite all the injuries he sustained. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment if who you think is better, Russ or Dame. You could probably go either way, but I truly believe Dame is better because of how he performed last year's and in last year's playoffs and this year so far, and because of this right here. You can't go wrong with Damian Lillard.